Well, a D.C. court system is in crisis tonight, and this is as a result of an ABC7 I-Team investigation. Half of its judges are now coming out against the chief judge. Others called on her to resign. Ben Eisler first broke this story, and Ben is here now to bring us up to date. Ben?
Well, Allison, in this confidential letter, 15 judges criticized the chief judge based on stories that we've put out over the past week. Those stories focused on how she doesn't hear cases and insider deals. And now her own colleagues are formally questioning her ability to lead. The letter is addressed to Council Chairman Phil Mendelson, and it offers a stern rebuke of the Honorable Mary Oates Walker, Chief Judge of D.C.'s Office of Administrative Hearings.
To have almost half the judges that comprise that entity come forward and say, we believe there's improprieties here, is unprecedented.
Its authors say they wrote to protect the agency's integrity, and in addition to the points raised previously by ABC7 News, the letter says the chief makes policy decisions in secret. Line judges have no say about key policies, and the chief's treatment of support staff is unprofessional, erratic, and at times demeaning. They even gave an example of how she and her inner circle fired a cancer patient the day before surgery. We went to OAH today to find Walker. We just wanted to talk to the chief judge. She's here.
No, she's not here, but even if she was, we don't do interviews.
But she would not come out and answer our questions. Instead, the agency sent a statement. The suggestion in the letter that policy decisions are made in secret is unfounded, it reads. Several of the issues raised in the letter involve personnel actions, which are confidential and not subject to comment. Meanwhile, Council Chairman Mendelson says he'll get to the bottom of this.
I'm very concerned that there are roughly a dozen administrative law judges who are unhappy.
And taxpayers we spoke to said someone needs to clean up the D.C. government.
We're out of control. Right now, we're out of control, and everybody's getting a nice paycheck while being out of control. And the rest of us really have to work hard.
And government watchdog Dorothy Brazil has also called on Walker to resign. That process would begin with a council hearing, and if you'd like to read that entire letter, you can check it on our website, WJLA.com. Gordon and Allison, back to you.
Thanks, Ben.
Tonight, an exclusive ABC7 I-Team investigation. We have uncovered dangerous breakdowns in a D.C. program critical to public safety.
Now, D.C. YouthLink rehabilitates violent lawbreakers in the community. Ben Eisler spent more than 8 months studying that group's inner workings, and he joins us now with what he's found. Ben.
Well, Leon and Allison, when D.C. YouthLink launched, some called it revolutionary. It aimed to transform teen offenders without locking them up. From 2010 to 2011, the program received more than 14 million city dollars. But over that period, 15 enrollees were charged with murder. 15 more were killed. And of the more than 750 served by the program, only 13 graduated from high school. Tonight, we look at what went wrong.
When you first started walking, we was in West Palm Beach at my mom's house. First steps.
Maurice Hall's innocent childhood quickly passed him by. His mother, LaTanya, says by age 17, he was regularly stealing cars. Neighbors would call her in a panic.
He driving a van. I said, driving a van? And I said, are you sure? He goes, yes. He just zoomed past me, almost hit somebody.
Police arrested Maurice, and he became a ward of the city. And the district, now his guardian, decided to keep him at home as opposed to in a detention center. It enrolled him in D.C. YouthLink, promising a mentor, tutor, and behavioral health services, Hall says. But only the mentor ever came by.
They didn't do anything.
And our investigation found that breakdowns like this have been rampant. We obtained an internal letter about the program's youths west of the river. It indicates that at one point, almost a third of them were receiving no services whatsoever last year. Confidential records show extra supervision was requested for one young man with an extensive history of gun charges. That request was denied. Watchdog Joe Patterson has spoken to teens in the program.
Sometimes there's no implementation on real services and real needs.
Services the teens did get often lacked quality. One for-profit company, Children, received almost $1 million last year. Yet city reports show its mentors were playing video games with juveniles, and its tutors weren't even keeping student report cards. So no one could tell if actual progress was being made or if youths were simply just doing stuff. The group's director would not comment.
It tells all of us there's no accountability. Children are still crying, children are still dying.
Choice Inc. was one of D.C. YouthLink's top tutoring providers in 2011, receiving more than $300,000. Yet records show it lacked something as basic as teachers with traditional credentials. The group's integrity further came into question when it fired a high-level staffer for allegedly having sex with a student. The president of Choice's board would not comment. All in all, our investigation uncovered millions of dollars paid to providers that have been cited for problems. Those funds went out through an entirely non-competitive process without contracts, and it left the teens, like Amber Kelsey, high and dry. According to her grandmother, Amber's mentor tried to bribe her with a new pair of sneakers to sign the attendance sheet. That way the mentor would get paid without counseling her.
I thought it was one of the most dishonest things. I knew for sure it wasn't something that was going to help Amber.
Throughout our investigation, the city has concealed information. They would only insist that the program has vastly improved since last year. So far in 2012, they claim no enrollee has been a victim or a suspect in a homicide. In a statement, they wrote, "We are very proud of the great progress being made. No other similar jurisdiction has achieved so much in so little time." But rearrests have remained steady, and the facts are clear. Because the city decided to leave all of these teens in the community and then not even service many of them, 15 of them have been murdered. Another 15 have been arrested for murder. And of the more than 750 served by the program, only 13 have graduated from high school. Meanwhile, back in Northeast, Maurice Hall continued to steal cars. His mother begged district officials to lock him up, but she says that didn't happen either. Then one night, Maurice was riding in the back of a stolen car and someone started shooting. He took a bullet to the spine and will never walk again.
It just feels like you just alone. You trying to get your child help, but they just wouldn't listen.
Now, some say that we really can't expect anyone to turn these teens around, but similar programs elsewhere have shown results. In Milwaukee, just 15% of teens get rearrested. Here, the numbers are more than double that. In the newsroom, Ben Eisler, ABC 7 News.
All right, thank you, Ben. Good work, Ben.
We have new developments tonight in an ABC 7 I-Team investigation.
Our story uncovered dangerous breakdowns in a D.C. program for teen offenders. And tonight, the city is calling for the Attorney General to investigate this. And Ben Eisler joins us from our newsroom with more. Ben?
Well, Candace and Allison, DC YouthLink is supposed to rehabilitate young lawbreakers without locking them up. It spent millions of dollars, yet records show it failed to provide many of its teens with any services at all. And from 2010 to 2011, dozens of youths in the program were murdered or arrested for murder. For several days now, we've been trying to talk with the mayor, but he hasn't been available. So today, we took our questions to his regular press briefing. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask a question about DYRS. The mayor quickly deferred our questions to Neil Stanley, director of the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services, which oversees DC YouthLink.
From January of 2012 to right now, there are 0 DYRS young people who are either victims of homicide or perpetrators of homicide. Why are those numbers apparent? They're apparent because we're much more dedicated, much more serious, much more transparent, and we're holding folks accountable.
But as we reported earlier, the rate of teens getting rearrested has not improved, and the fact remains. 30 enrollees have been victims or suspects in homicides since 2010. Stanley has repeatedly refused our requests for an interview, so today we began to press him on questionable payouts the program has made to providers. During that meeting, your chief of staff, who did show up, mentioned that no money was ever paid out without documentation. I now have documents to show that that is simply false. The mayor immediately pulled Stanley from the podium.
Ben, please work with us. Please give us the information you have, and I promise you we will continue to effectuate improvements.
And we had, in fact, already posted the documents, all of them, everything, on our website, WJLA.com. And again, the mayor's spokesman tells us they will ask the Attorney General to investigate issues with DC YouthLink. And we will, of course, keep you posted. Live in the newsroom, Ben Eisler, ABC 7 News.
Okay, Ben, thank you so much.